Going back to Facebook Live here, Pastor Steve Gary says, why are there no crosses in the Calvary Chapel Tri-Cities buildings?
There is a huge cross on the eastern side of the building. When you drive up to, when you're driving down Clearwater, you cannot miss it if you're looking. I was going to get goofy and say it's because we're a bunch of vampires and we're afraid of the cross. The reason that we don't have any symbols up in the building is because number one, even the cross that I have on the back of the building, you know, I don't have a problem with crosses, but that's not the cross. The cross is the cross that Jesus died on. It's not something that you hang around your neck, and it's not something that you have put up on a building. And so the cross is to be preached. And so, you know, a lot of times what happens with people is they start glomming onto a symbol instead of glomming onto the reality. And the reality is that we have a relationship with the real Jesus. And when we're talking to people about the cross, we don't want them to be thinking about something that they're putting around their neck. We want them to be thinking about what Jesus died on. And again, I don't have a huge problem with the you know, with symbols and that kind of thing, except that a lot of times people replace the reality with a symbol, and they miss the whole point.
Are you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
Can you expound on that? Because remember when we went over to to Rome in the Mediterranean Walk with the Paul tour? We walked in there, and what is that? Roman...
St. Peter's?
Yeah, St. Peter's.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's like relics everywhere.
Right.
And it's massive. They're telling like that red stone or whatever it is that they own most of it in the world is like in this place that is a lot of money per like square inch or gram or whatever they're measuring it of stone.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
Right.
But as we're walking through there, my wife's looking around and she kind of got turned off in the sense of it was fleshy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times, whether it's a painting of Jesus or a cross or St. Peter's, Roman Cathedral, whatever, like they end up turning in this relic as their act of worship instead of the true God that we're supposed to be.
Right. And, you know, again, that's where the focus is supposed to be. And so I don't think that every church that has a cross up on the stage is in sin or something.
Right.
I've had crosses up on my stage.
Yeah.
And so there have been all kinds of times when we've had symbols up like that. You know, sometimes I've had menorahs up here. We have the Calvary Chapel dove. And like I said, we have a big old cross on the back of the building. You know, and I specifically did that on purpose so you could see it coming down Clearwater. But I want people to be focused again on the reality, because you have these situations where people have icons and that kind of thing, and they come in, they even the world, when they're looking at you know, a church, a lot of times they're looking at stained glass, and they're looking at relics. Well, when Notre Dame just burnt,
There you go.
yeah, what they were all worried about was the relics, and they're worried about the stained glass, and I can understand that because I'm somebody who likes antiquities and that kind of thing. But ultimately, you know, if the place is dead, if the cross is not being preached there, if Jesus is not being glorified, then it's just stuff.
Yeah, it's already burned down.
Yeah, and so we need to keep the right mindset on this kind of thing. And again, I don't have a problem with the cross.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pieces of jewelry was the first little clay cross that I ever bought. You know, and I think that's cool. And you know, but I don't put a lot of stock in that. And you know, I mean, my wedding ring is a dove, and so, you know, it's like it's a symbol of the Holy Spirit, and there's a reason for that. But it's not, you know, I don't put it in a place that it shouldn't be. And so, cross is preached here, cross is not looked at. So I guess that would be the short answer.
Okay.
Yeah.